Hello, welcome to the wilderness. I'm Adam Fuller, the head gardener here. This is an update on the things we've been doing on the build up to spring and summer in order to get everything in shape for one, for the bird nesting, 2, for the wildflowers to grow, and 3, just to make the whole garden look pretty. Just to show you around the garden a bit, these are actually the old holly trees which were removed just to lighten this whole area up, to allow more light in. We are getting more bulb growth, which is the reason for removing them. Obviously more light, the more bulb growth we get. There is a collection of hollies in the garden, so we've maintained some. There's red berries, yellow berries, orange berries and white berries in the garden. All the hollies which have been removed have been used in the edgings to the pathways, just to recycle them rather than throwing them away or going into landfill. A number of the hollies have been chopped at this height because we were originally going to winch them out. But obviously, then we've got to get rid of the stumps. So we're going to chop them off at ground level and leave them in the ground to rot down. This is the rockery behind me. You can probably see some of these drumstick primulas and things. When the project was first started, we knew there was a rockery in the garden. Nobody knew where it was though. So this whole area was so overgrown with rhododendrons, we didn't even know this pile was in this position. It was only when we started putting pathways in for the hard landscaping, it was kind of discovered, and then slowly we've cleared the rhododendrons away from this area to really get this whole rockery back. The rockery was built by William Wilkes as a part of the original garden. The whole garden soil area is acidic soil, which is why rhododendrons and azaleas like it so much. Unfortunately, it doesn't suit these kind of flowers or the growth of these kind of flowers. So what William Wilkes did was he basically brought into the site a whole load of chalk and piled the chalk up and created this structure and put soil in it and planted it. We call it the rockery. It's more of a flower display than a rockery. The planting we've reinstalled now is all based on photographic evidence of the garden as it was. So the drumstick primulas were very popular in Victorian times, so that's why they're in here. There's also a whole load of mysostis, which is forget-me-nots. There's cerastium, which is snow in summer, which is covered in white flowers. So the whole thing in midsummer will be full of flowers. It will be a highlight within the garden. I'm going to explain now some of the young trees which have been planted in the garden. Obviously we removed a lot of trees to create acid grassland areas in the garden. As a result, we had to apply for planning permission to do that. A number of the trees we've replanted 36. They're all indigenous native trees. So, as you can see behind me here, a lot of them are sweet chestnuts. We've also got oaks, we've got hornbeams. There's a whole range in order just to increase the diversity in the garden. Young trees which were planted in the garden were selected partly because of the benefits they give to the wildlife, but also they've been located so we get as much light in here as possible, because this was an open woodland. We're trying to return it to that. The hollies, which were prevalent in the garden, have created a very dense canopy and lots of shade. So they've been taken out now. The trees that were planted were 45 litres, so they're quite heavy. They're taking out 2 to 3 people to lift the trees. As you can see here, the trees are around 12 feet high. The root balls, they were all bought in root balls. They've all been planted while the trees, because they're deciduous, were dormant. So they've all been planted up to kind of around March. The young trees which were planted have a watering system. Basically it's a pipe which goes around underneath the tree down here, and then there's one pipe that comes up which you water through. In doing that, the water all goes right down to the base of the tree, and there's very little evaporation. These trees will progress. They won't reach their full size because there's so much shade here and there's so much competition for water, etc., with other trees. So the bog garden is now in full flower in the spring, not like when you saw it in the winter where it was a bit sort of green and nothing going on. As you can see behind me and all round me, there are loads of daffodils in the garden. There are specific types of daffodils in the garden. One of these is Narcissus cyclaminus, which is a daffodil which has a little hanging flower. You can see them on the garden here. They will die off in the spring, but they're very unique to wetland areas. There's also fritillarias. This is a snake's head fritillaria, named so because of its snake-like flower. May lilies also grow right throughout the site. May lilies at the moment would be just green leaves. They will have little white flowers. The wilderness bog garden, as can be seen now, is best in the spring because most of the planting in the garden is bulbs. The bulbs come up, but by summer they'll all die off, and this whole area will then be long grass with wildflowers in it. I look forward to seeing you in the summer when all this garden will change again and this will just be wildflowers. The bulbs won't be here at that time. The river as well dries out, so the bog in effect dries out in the summer months. So I'll see you then.